This video is the 163 subscribers Q&A, just, very late. Kabbalamibe asks, 2LambdaPlusBlack name origin? 2LambdaPlusBlack refers to the three-color combination black, blue, and yellow with which I like to associate. Lambda in physics represents wavelength, and blue and yellow are two colors which, in the spectrum of visible light, would be two wavelengths. I enjoy making names that occur at the intersection of two different meanings though, so there is a different thing going on in this name, a subtler connection. But I plan for that to be a reveal in a future video, so I'm not going to say it here. Originally, I intended for the name 2LambdaPlusBlack to be the name of the channel, but now it refers to just the set of educational videos on the channel, which is now named Heirua. Kabbalamibe also asks, favorite flag? There are a whole lot of flags out there, and it'd be hard to pick a favorite. Many are very excellent. It gets easier to pick a favorite when restricting to flags of a certain category. My favorite country flag is the flag of Komori, or Comoros, though this is the result of recent taste changes. For over a decade, my favorite country flag was the flag of Seychelles, or Seychelles, and I'd say that one's still a close second. Other country flags among my favorite include Namibia, Cabo Verde, Haiti, Kazakhstan, Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Jamaica, the Solomon Islands, Nauru, the Marshall Islands, and Kiribati. If you look at flags from the perspective of symbolism and meaning, my favorite would be Brazil, and I've made a whole video about that flag. If we expand to the flags of territories and outlying regions, you could add the flag of Curaçao, the flag of Bonaire, the flag of Norfolk Island, the flag of Nouvelle-Calédonie, and the flag of Tokelau. My favorite US state flag is the flag of Alaska, my favorite Canadian province flag is the flag of Newfoundland and Labrador, my favorite Brazilian state flag is either the flag of Tocantins or the flag of Mato Grosso do Sul, and my favorite Russian federal subject flag is either the flag of Murmansk Oblast or the flag of Sakha. Outside of these, I'd also like to mention the flag of Friesland as another excellent subdivision flag. My favorite city flag is the flag of Zheleznogorsk, though another great contender is the flag of Kaohsiung. My favorite pride flag is the intersex flag, my favorite flag of an ethnic group is the Sami flag, and my favorite flag of a micronation is the flag of Naminara. Phenomist asks, how were the names for the Patreon tiers decided? Okay, so for those who don't know, the tiers on my Patreon, patreon.com/Heirua, are called Wondering tier, Foresight tier, Cuneiform tier, Aglow tier, Aurora tier, and Pterodactyl tier. I looked to find names of tiers that mostly reflected what the Patreon tier offers. For instance, Cuneiform tier allows you to be credited on the screen at the end, and Cuneiform is a form of writing. I also chose words that begin with the sounds for 1 and 4, and then the letters Cu, Ag, Au, and Pt, the chemical symbols for copper, silver, gold, and platinum. Incidentally, the atomic number for platinum is 78, and the high tiers are amounts that are multiples of both 4 and 13, two of my favorite numbers. This channel was started on April 13th for the same reason, relevantly. Betaveros asks, what would be your dream collaboration where you are one of the collaborators? Dream collaborations. It's always good to have some dreams, I guess. I think the YouTuber I'd most love to do a collaboration with is 3Blue1Brown. Definitely not the only one though. Some other YouTubers I'd love to collaborate with include Emperor Tigerstar, Suckerpinch, Faria Faraji, and Tom Scott. All 4 of these people are among my favorite YouTubers, and in fact Tom Scott in particular is someone I've for a long time looked up to as someone I'd pretty much love to be. Through my life, I've generally never had anyone I've aspirationally looked up to because I guess I'm a weird enough person. I've never found someone for which the person they are is any approximation of how I visualize myself. But Tom Scott is as close to what I want to be as it gets. Like, if you ask me who is you but successful, I'd probably answer Tom Scott, Toby Fox, David Graeber. Though, Tom Scott has kinda quit YouTube, so, well, there's that. Betaveros also asks, what's the most unexpectedly difficult aspect of making videos / running a YouTube channel you've encountered since starting? Well, I think now I'd say trying to reach an audience without resorting to clickbait and underhanded network tactics is a lot tougher than I thought it was, but for something more directly relevant, I am surprised how much work editing a video takes. And my videos only utilize very basic graphics. On this topic, once I've started editing videos to remove extraneous little noises, Mistakes I make while reading the script, etc., I can't stop noticing the little imperfections here and there, and sometimes I have to stop myself from obsessing over them and remind myself that for most work one does, nobody else scrutinizes its tiny details as much as one does oneself. Betaveros also asks, have you made any videos for any reason, e.g. for school, before starting your channel? What were they about? If there were a lot, what's your favorite? Before this channel, I've never made any video where I was the person who did the entire process, drafting, designing, recording, editing, publishing. In particular, I've never done any video editing before starting this channel. This channel was quite a jump into the deep end. Betaveros also asks, after your experiences with paper slides and video editing, how would you compare the two? Is there anything you miss about the old format? So, the ultimate reason why I switched from paper to video is because my consciousness of how much paper I was using up reached a critical level. Keep in mind, the total amount of paper I consumed was substantially higher than that which you saw in video, because since I wrote on the paper using Sharpie, every time I made a mistake I had to go retrieve new paper. I also like that computer graphics allows me to use black backgrounds, and in case you haven't figured it out yet, I like the color black. I definitely wasn't going to use the amount of Sharpie requisite to color the rest of the pieces of paper in my visuals black. I think if I missed something about the paper format, it's how raw and organic it felt. But I think overall I'm happier that I switched to computer graphics. Betaveros also asks, how did you decide on the general aesthetic of your channel and videos? Were there any aesthetics you considered but eliminated? So, I wanted my channel to have a fairly strong theme of, here you get to learn what you don't learn elsewhere. I wanted the aesthetics of my videos to suggest that nature. At first, I wanted the channel to be a paper graphics channel to give the feel that you're going somewhere secret to learn the forbidden knowledge about the world, with someone revealing to you all the esoteric knowledge through rudimentary visual aids. Within computer graphics, I intend for the black background to also give that feel that you're learning the more intense stuff, the off-the-beaten-path knowledge, if you will. There have been graphical changes I have made to the channel. For instance, the first computer graphics videos were done using the Ubuntu font, and at a certain point I switched to Fira Sans. The actual reason for this change was that there were certain characters I expect to eventually use that were important to distinguish that Ubuntu renders in the same way, but Fira Sans actually uses distinct enough symbols to render. Enigma MF asks, what is the symbolism behind your yellow-blue-black logo? Oh boy, this has the potential to be a very long answer. I guess I could start with direct subjectivity and then move to specific representations. The triple of black, blue, and yellow is a color scheme that I really like and consider highly underrated. I think these three colors look splendid together and make for one of the most awesome color combinations, but I think not many people are in my boat on this. Like, how often do you see somewhere's logo or flag be black, blue, and yellow? How many black, blue, and yellow fictional characters are there, right? There's incredibly few, so most people don't see the color combination as cool as I do. I suspect my unusual, very strong enjoyment of this color scheme may possibly be a result of my specific color blindness. The situation of my color vision is a kind of curious mystery. Here are some facts about myself. There is definitely some way in which my color vision deviates from the normal humans. Very rarely, like around once in 6 months, someone says something about color that doesn't make sense to my eyes, thus causing me to be aware I'm perceiving something differently. But, as I mentioned, it is very rare, and for almost everything in life, I can perceive color in a way that operates fine. But I failed the Ishihara plate test very badly. I typically get 4 out of 12 correct on them, and yet if I had a documented form of colorblindness, there should be at least 2 lines on this chart that look the same to me. In particular, the top line should look the same as the line corresponding to the form of colorblindness I have. But I see 8 distinct lines. So I may have a particularly unique colorblindness situation. I have some guesses as to what it could be. If you know about the specific different forms of colorblindness, you may know that protonomaly, deuteranomaly, and tritonomaly involve the replacement of one of the eye's cones with a 4th type of cone, and most colorblind people fall into this category rather than having just 2 cones. In this sense, I feel the word colorblind almost doesn't actually correctly describe their situation. They have just as many cones as normal people, it's just one of them is different. Their eyes have a different basis of color perception, and therefore they may map out the color space differently. There also exist people with tetrachromatic eyes, people with 4 different cones. In college, I knew another student who had tetrachromatic eyes, where the extra cone was further red than the red cone, and gave her more ability to differentiate reds. I suspect my situation may be that my eyes have 3 types of cones in them, but I have an anomaly case with an unusual replacement cone, like maybe my red cones are replaced with a deeper red. But in any case, this is a gigantic tangent, and it's just for the speculation of a possible reason the black-blue-yellow combination is so excellent to my eyes. Anyway, going back to actual symbolism, the main interpretation is that the black stands for imagination, the blue stands for nature, and the yellow stands for science. I like people with a good imagination, I like people who respect nature, and I like people who respect science. The colors also serve other purposes. For instance, blue and yellow are the colors of California, where I am from, and a state for which I'm quite proud of most of it, and also the colors of Sverige, or Sweden, a country that I've long really admired both culturally and societally. A vastly disproportionate amount of my favorite music comes from Sverige, and for over a decade of my life, I considered it among the countries of the world to be the one whose society had the best values and moral sense, in my view. It is no longer number 1 in my view now, but I still regard it very highly, and I wish my country would run many systems more like the Swedes do, and believe my society would work so much better if it did. Boyan R asks, what are some projects you're excited to work on in the near future? There are a lot of projects I have planned both in the YouTube space and outside the YouTube space. If only I had the time for all of them. YouTube videos I'm considering include a primer on IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, and a comprehensive breakdown of US administrative divisions. Outside of YouTube, I have many plans for making cool charts, some of which I finished before this video. The following questions were asked by people who asked to remain anonymous. Should pineapple go on pizza? This is of course a matter of subjective opinion. Personally though, I would prefer when pineapple goes on pizza. I dislike pineapple, and I'm allergic to milk and thus can't have pizza. Hence, if some amount of pineapple is going on the pizza, that amount of pineapple is not getting used on whatever I'm having. So I'd like as much of the pineapple to be going on some pizza as possible. Why is the language of your Discord set to Lithuanian? Setting one's language in Discord to Lithuanian causes Discord to display dates and times in the one correct date and time format, year, month, day, then 24-hour time. As an added bonus, when you hover over a react, it's now in active voice. I've heard a lot of people say they wish they had that back. Just saying, there's a way to get that back. What is your favorite part of the content creation process? A lot of it is a lot of sweat, so I have to say it is finally getting to click that button and publish the video, because it means I'm done. Actually, the best part of it is when people actually start a discussion about the content I've published. Then I know I'm actually making a difference. Please discuss what I bring up in my videos. I need engagement. In your planned educational videos, once you've selected the topic, how do you decide the specific takeaways you want the audience to learn? If there are many potential takeaways, how do you prioritize them? I've actually done this 2 different ways around. Sometimes I have an idea of what I want a video to build up to, and then decide what things I'll explain through to get to that moment. But sometimes there's just a mass of information I wish to present, and then I think about what the most interesting overarching themes to go over would be. What is your process for going from concept to visual? For instance, how do you decide what to show, not to show, how to show it, once you've decided a concept you'd like to teach? I mostly just go through my script and think, what of the things I will be talking about will be most useful to have accompanied by visuals? Of course, there are things for which I provide visuals just because the visual would be funny. I prioritize showing visuals at times words do not describe a concept particularly clearly. How do you learn best? If there's something you want to learn, what's your strategy for doing it? This really depends on what the material is. I find that my mind is better at classifying information when it is well organized and structured, so I try to build structures and seek patterns rather aggressively with most knowledge that I try to gain, often drawing charts and tables when I think I have a feel for the pattern of information and looking at what pieces of them are missing that I should look forward to finding out about in the future. I like to learn about reality in the Dmitri-Mendeleev sort of way, I guess I'll say. There are many ways in which my mind does not work like most people's minds, so there are certain ways in which I learn things that probably would be counterproductive for others. For instance, numbers are much easier to remember for me than words, so when I want to memorize a set of things that are words, I often enumerate them or find some way to associate them with numbers. When I imagine most people, when trying to memorize numbers, try to use the opposite process. When I'm lying in bed trying to sleep, I often recite things I learned that day to try to cement them in my mind, and I usually have quite a while to try to do this because I have issues falling asleep. That's all the questions. Next Q&A will be when I hit 413 subscribers. Remember to love the night!